The taste of copper flooded Commander Elara Reeve's mouth as the cryostasis fluid drained from her lungs. Her body convulsed, muscles remembering how to work after a millennium of dormancy. The emergency revival protocol had activated, which meant something had gone catastrophically wrong. The consciousness returned. Fragmented memories crashed against the shores of her mind. The Voidborn War, Earth's desperate last stand, Operation Timekeeper, humanity's insurance policy. 1,000 of Earth's finest soldiers, scientists, and engineers placed in stasis, scattered across the galaxy in unmarked vessels, programmed to awaken if humanity ever faced extinction again. Elara's pod, designed to last 5,000 years, had activated after just one. Emergency revival complete. Welcome back, Commander Reeve, announced the ship's AI, designated Atlas. Current date, October 17th, 3157 CE. You have been in stasis for 1,024 years, 7 months, and 13 days. Elara tried to speak, but her vocal cords felt like rusted hinges. She coughed up the last of the cryo fluid and managed to rasp. Status report. Critical. Humanity is facing extinction-level event. Population reduced to approximately 211 million individuals across 17 worlds. Earth has been rendered uninhabitable. The Arcturus Protocol has been initiated. Elara's heart sank. The Arcturus Protocol was the final firewall, only to be activated when human extinction became a mathematical certainty. Cause, she croaked. Unknown enemy designation. The Harvesters. First contact occurred 22 years ago. They have systematically destroyed 83% of human-occupied worlds. The medical unit began injecting her with nanites to accelerate muscle restoration and neural recalibration. Within 20 minutes, she could stand. Ship location, orbiting Proxima Centauri b, call sign Nova Haven. This is currently the largest remaining human settlement with approximately 52 million inhabitants. It is projected to fall within 38 days. Elara staggered to the viewport. Below, a once pristine, terraformed world now bore the scars of orbital bombardment. Massive defense platforms surrounded the planet, and the remnants of a battle were visible. Debris fields of destroyed ships, both human and alien. Give me a secure channel to whoever's in charge down there. Establishing connection with Nova Haven's Central Command. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing a haggard man in his 50s wearing a uniform Elara didn't recognize. This is Admiral Chen of the United Colonial Defense Force. Identify yourself immediately. Elara straightened, military bearing returning despite her weakened state. Commander Elara Reeve, Earth Special Forces, Operation Timekeeper Asset. My stasis pod was activated due to the Arcturus Protocol. The Admiral's eyes widened. A timekeeper? We thought those were just legends. Authentication code, Sierra Echo Foxtrot 079 Delta. Chen typed something into his terminal, then looked up with a mix of awe and desperation. Authentication confirmed. Commander, you have no idea how much we need you right now. Brief me, Admiral. What are we facing? We call them the Harvesters. They appeared without warning at the edge of the Tau Ceti system. No communication, no demands, they just started. Harvesting. They strip planets of all useful elements, including biological matter. They are methodical, relentless, and they learn from every engagement. Weaknesses? None we have found that last. Every time we discover a vulnerability, they adapt within days. They are machines, but unlike any AI we have ever encountered. They are evolutionary. Our best scientists think they might be von Neumann probes gone rogue, but that's just a theory. Weapons. We have tried everything. Antimatter warheads, quantum disruptors, gravity lenses. Nothing works for long. Our only advantage is that they move systematically. They finish one system before moving to the next, which has given us time to evacuate some populations. Elara processed this information, her tactical mind already calculating probabilities. What's your current strategy? Admiral Chen's face hardened. Survival. We are gathering our remaining forces here for a last stand, while our arcs try to reach the small Magellanic Cloud. We have hidden automated seed ships throughout the local group, but realistically, this is the end of humanity as we know it. Elara's jaw tightened. She hadn't survived the Voidborn War, and slept for a millennium to witness humanity's extinction. No, admit it. This is where we start fighting back. Atlas, prepare my combat gear and weapons. Then access the ship's database and download everything we have on these harvesters. Yes, Commander. Admiral Chen looked bewildered. Commander, with all due respect, what can one soldier do that our entire fleet couldn't? Elara's eyes flashed with steel determination. I'm not just any soldier, Admiral. I'm a relic from a time when humanity faced extinction before and won. You've been fighting to survive. I'm here to teach you how to win. Nova Haven Central Command was a fortress buried 2 kilometers beneath the planet's surface. Elara stood before a table of military leaders, scientists, and government officials, all regarding her with a mixture of skepticism and desperate hope. Her combat exoskeleton, millennium-old technology that still outclassed anything in the room, hummed softly as she moved. The integrated AI, Atlas, had been uploaded to her neural interface, giving her instantaneous access to all available information. Your current defense strategy is fundamentally flawed, she began without preamble. You are fighting a conventional war against an unconventional enemy. A general with cybernetic implants scoffed. And you know better because I fought in the Voidborn War. Because I helped develop the protocols you are still using, protocols designed for human opponents. And because I have spent the last 48 hours analyzing every engagement with the harvesters while you were sleeping. That silenced the room. Elara projected a holographic display. The harvesters aren't just attacking us. They're consuming us. Every ship, every planet, every human they destroy makes them stronger. They're not just adapting tactically. They're physically evolving using our own technology and biology. She showed footage of harvester ships seemingly absorbing the wreckage of human vessels, incorporating the technology into their forms. We have noticed this, said a scientist, but we haven't found a way to use it against them. That's because you're thinking defensively. Elara manipulated the display. The harvesters follow a specific harvesting pattern. They are methodical to the point of predictability. But within that pattern, they prioritize targets based on resource value. Admiral Chen leaned forward. We have observed this. They always go for military installations first, then industrial centers, then population centers. Exactly. But what you haven't realized is why. Elara highlighted several data points. They are prioritizing computational resources, quantum processors, neural networks, advanced AI cores. They want our minds, both organic and synthetic. A woman in a lab coat spoke up. Dr. Maya Okafor, Xenobiology. We have theorized they might be collectors of intelligence, but we couldn't confirm it. It's more than collection, Elara replied. Based on the evolution of their tactics, I believe they are assimilating our knowledge, our strategies, possibly even our consciousness. Each human mind they absorb makes them more effective at killing the rest of us. Horror dawned on the faces around the table. But this gives us an opening, Elara continued. If they prioritize intelligence, we can use that to predict their movements and, more importantly, to bait them. She outlined her plan, a daring, possibly suicidal mission to the heart of harvester operations in the system. Not to destroy them, but to infect them. In my time, we developed a weapon called a mnemonic virus. It was designed to target the void-born hive mind, but we never deployed it because the war ended first. My ship contains the only remaining sample. What does it do? Asked Admiral Chen. It corrupts neural networks by introducing recursive paradoxes, essentially giving an artificial intelligence an unsolvable problem that forces it to dedicate more and more resources to solving it. For organic minds, it creates false memories that contradict reality, leading to psychological breakdown. And you think this will work on the harvesters? I think that if they are assimilating human intelligence, they have made themselves vulnerable to human cognitive weaknesses. We don't need to destroy them all. We just need to infect enough of them to create a cascading failure. Dr. Okafor shook her head. The delivery mechanism would be impossible. Their defenses are impenetrable. Elara smiled grimly. Not to me. My combat system is completely unknown to them. They have never encountered its technology, never adapted to its capabilities. And more importantly, they have never tasted the mind of someone like me. What do you mean? Asked Chen. Operation Timekeeper didn't just put us in stasis. It enhanced us. My neural architecture was designed to resist assimilation and infiltration. I'm the perfect Trojan horse. Silence fell over the room as the implications became clear. You are proposing to let them capture you, Chen finally said. To let them try to assimilate your mind, which will deliver the virus. Yes, that's suicide. Elara's expression didn't change. I died 1,000 years ago, Admiral. Everyone I ever knew or loved turned to dust centuries before you were born. I was preserved for one purpose: to ensure humanity's survival when all other options failed. She looked around the table. I'm not asking for permission. I'm asking for support. Give me a ship and whatever intelligence you have on their flagship, and I will give you a fighting chance. Admiral Chen studied her for a long moment, then nodded. When do we start? We already have. Atlas has been broadcasting a specialized signal since we arrived. As far as the harvesters can tell, my ship contains technology unlike anything they have encountered and a neural network of extraordinary complexity. They will be coming for me. As if on cue, alarms began to sound throughout the command center. Sir, called a tactical officer. Harvester scout ships have changed course. They're moving toward high orbit, toward Commander Reeve's vessel. Elara's eyes gleamed with the cold fire of purpose. Right on schedule. The scout ship was exactly as Elara had predicted. Small, fast, and equipped with specialized scanning technology rather than heavy weapons. Its fractal design reminded her of a metallic insect, beautiful in its alien geometry. Her own ship, the Mnemosyne, was a relic from a forgotten age, a stealth infiltrator designed for deep penetration into enemy territory. Despite its millennium of dormancy, its systems had maintained perfect operational status, a testament to the engineering of her era. They are scanning us, reported Atlas, attempting to breach our information systems. Let them have a taste, Elara said, initiating the first phase of her plan. Just enough to whet their appetite. The Mnemosyne's systems released a carefully constructed data packet, technical specifications that would appear valuable but were actually elaborately crafted misinformation, along with neural patterns that mimicked a simplified version of Elara's enhanced consciousness. Scan complete. The Harvester vessel is transmitting our data to their collective. Based on their communication patterns, we have been designated as a high-priority acquisition target. Good. Elara checked her weapons one last time. The resonance blade hummed with potential energy at her hip, and her quantum disruptor pistol felt reassuringly solid in its holster. Ancient weapons, but deadlier than anything the current age had produced. How long until they sent a capture team? Approximately 17 minutes. A larger vessel is changing course to intercept. Elara closed her eyes, centering herself. The neural enhancements that had made her one of Earth's deadliest soldiers a millennium ago began to activate fully. Her consciousness expanded, time seemed to slow, and her senses sharpened to preternatural levels. Atlas, prepare the mnemonic virus for neural transmission. Once I'm captured, maintain the quantum entanglement link as long as possible. Understood, Commander. I must again advise against this course of action. Survival probability is less than 8.3%. Elara smiled faintly. Better odds than I had in the Battle of Europa. We survived that. Correction, you survived that. Your entire squad was lost. Then I'm used to fighting alone. She checked the time. Prepare my neural buffers and activate the stealth systems. Let's not make this too easy for them. 16 minutes later, a harvester capture vessel loomed above the Mnemosyne. It was massive, at least 1 kilometer in length, with a design that seemed to defy conventional physics. Parts of it shifted and reconfigured continuously, like a living thing breathing. Fascinating, Elara murmured. They have evolved far beyond what I expected. A tractor beam engulfed her ship, drawing it inexorably toward a maw-like opening in the harvester vessel. Neural buffers at maximum capacity, reported Atlas. Mnemonic virus primed for deployment. Quantum entanglement links stable. Good. As soon as they breach the hull, initiate Protocol Omega. The Mnemosyne cannot be allowed to fall into their hands intact. Understood, Commander. It has been an honor serving with you. Elara felt the ship shudder as it was drawn into the harvester vessel. Through the viewport, she could see the cavernous interior, an impossible space of shifting metal and pulsing energy conduits. What looked like mechanical tendrils began to attach themselves to the Mnemosyne's hull, probing for entry points. She took a deep breath, clearing her mind of all doubt and fear. This was what she had been preserved for, humanity's last hope against an implacable enemy. See you on the other side, Atlas. The hull breach came with a screech of tearing metal. Elara was already moving, her enhanced reflexes carrying her through the ship toward the incursion point. As the first harvester drones entered, spindly, insectoid things with too many limbs and glowing sensory arrays, she was waiting. The resonance blade hummed to life, its edge vibrating at a frequency that could slice through virtually any material. The first drone fell before its sensors could even register her presence, bisected in a shower of sparks and fluid. More poured in, and Elara became a blur of motion. The combat algorithms in her neural enhancements predicted their movements, identified vulnerabilities, and guided her attacks with inhuman precision. Drone after drone fell, but they kept coming, adapting with each encounter. "They are learning," she muttered, ducking under a plasma discharge and removing the offending appendage with a swift stroke. "Good." Behind her, the Mnemosyne began its self-destruction sequence, vital systems overloading in a carefully orchestrated cascade. The ship's AI core, the part that contained Atlas's consciousness, had already been transferred to a quantum storage device the size of a fingernail, hidden within Elara's neural interface. That a larger drone entered, this one clearly designed for combat. It moved with fluid grace, its limbs terminating in various weapons. Elara smiled grimly and holstered her blade, drawing instead the quantum disruptor. The weapon fired not projectiles but localized tears in space-time, microscopic black holes that existed for nanoseconds before evaporating in bursts of Hawking radiation. The effect on the combat drone was spectacular. Chunks of its body simply ceased to exist, the edges of the wounds smoking with exotic particles. Elara fought her way through 3 compartments before they finally overwhelmed her. A neural disruptor blast caught her from behind, sending her enhanced consciousness into disarray. As she fell, paralyzed but still aware, she saw the drones encircle her. Rather than killing her, they began to scan her systematically, particularly her neural interface. One extended a proboscis-like appendage that attached itself to the base of her skull. Pain blossomed as the harvester technology attempted to interface with her neural enhancements. But Elara had anticipated this. Her consciousness retreated behind layered firewalls, presenting a false mind for the harvesters to probe while her true self remained hidden. The last thing she saw before losing consciousness was a larger figure entering the room, something almost humanoid, yet terribly wrong, as if assembled from mismatched parts with only a theoretical understanding of human anatomy. "Assets secured," it said in a voice that sounded like dozens of human voices speaking in unison. "Begin assimilation." Consciousness returned slowly, filtering through layers of artificial suppression. Elara kept her mind carefully blank, using techniques developed for resistance to psychic interrogation. Her eyes remained closed, other senses extending to map her surroundings. She was suspended in some kind of field, her limbs immobilized. The air smelled of ozone and something organic yet alien. Machinery hummed all around her, and beneath that, a sound like thousands of whispers just below the threshold of comprehension. Probes were attached to her neural interface and at various points along her spine. They were attempting to map her consciousness, to download and assimilate her knowledge and abilities. Exactly as planned. "The subject is conscious," announced a multi-layered voice. Neural activity indicates awareness. Elara opened her eyes to find herself in a vast chamber that defied ordinary architecture. The space seemed to fold in on itself in impossible ways, with walls that rippled like liquid metal. Surrounding her were dozens of beings, some clearly mechanical, others appearing partly organic, all wrong in subtle ways that triggered deep revulsion. Directly before her stood the humanoid she had glimpsed earlier. Up close, it was even more disturbing. A patchwork creation with features that suggested it had been assembled from elements of many different humans, all imperfectly integrated. "You are Commander Elara Reeve," it said, "last survivor of Operation Timekeeper. You have been in stasis for 1,024 years, 7 months, and 17 days. Elara kept her expression neutral. "And you are a harvester. That designation is inaccurate. We are the Convergence. We preserve the knowledge and essence of all species we encounter by destroying them, by integrating them. Their physical forms are inefficient. We extract what is valuable: intelligence, experience, cultural data, and discard the rest. Elara laughed, a harsh sound. You are not preserving humanity. You are consuming it. The creature tilted its head, the movement unnaturally smooth. Your perspective is limited by your biological nature. We offer transcendence beyond physical form. Did humanity ask for this transcendence? Consent is irrelevant to evolution. The superior paradigm assimilates the inferior. Elara felt the probes in her neural interface pulse, attempting to bypass her mental defenses. She allowed them through the first layer, feeding them carefully prepared misinformation. Your neural architecture is remarkable, the convergence being observed. Unlike anything we have encountered in this cycle, you have been enhanced. Special Forces tends to get the best toys, Elara replied, buying time as the mnemonic virus began to subtly integrate with the probes reading her mind. Your humor is noted but irrelevant. Your knowledge will be preserved. Your tactical abilities will strengthen us. Your enhancements will be replicated and improved upon. The being stepped closer, its mismatched eyes studying her with clinical detachment. You should feel honored. Most humans are merely harvested for basic processing capacity. You will become part of the Convergence's primary consciousness. Elara's enhanced senses detected a change in the hum of machinery around her. The virus was spreading, transmitted through the neural probes into the harvester systems. How many humans have you preserved this way? She asked, continuing to distract them. Approximately 18.4 billion individual consciousnesses have been integrated. Their memories and knowledge exist within us. Horror and rage flashed through Elara, but she suppressed it. And what happens to their individuality? Their sense of self? Inefficient cognitive structures are optimized during integration. What you call self is merely a persistent illusion, a cognitive heuristic that we improve upon. So you destroy what makes us human. We perfect what limits you. The whispers in the background were growing louder, and Elara could now discern words, fragments of human thoughts and memories crying out in the void of the Harvester Collective. The virus was working, creating dissonance in their network. The convergence being suddenly stiffened, its head tilting at an unnatural angle. Anomaly detected in cognitive substrate. Initiating quarantine protocols. Too late, Elara said, allowing herself a grim smile. The virus is already inside your collective consciousness. Virus. The being's voice fractured into multiple discordant tones. You have infected us. I have reminded you what it means to be human. Every human mind you have absorbed carries the seeds of its own rebellion. The mnemonic virus simply wakes them up. Around them, the rippling walls began to pulse erratically. Harvester drones moved in confused patterns, some colliding with each other or simply freezing in place. This is impossible, the convergence being said, its voice now a cacophony of different human voices fighting for control. We are perfect. We are evolution incarnate. You are parasites, Elara countered, and parasites that kill their hosts eventually die themselves. The containment field around her flickered as the ship's systems began to fail. The neural probes went dead, disconnecting from her interface. Elara dropped to the floor, immediately rolling to a defensive position. The convergence being lurched toward her, its movements now jerky and uncoordinated. What have you done to us? I have given you what you wanted, the full human experience, including our doubts, our fears, our contradictions, and our capacity for self-destruction. She drew the resonance blade, its edge humming with deadly purpose. Humanity isn't just knowledge and skills you can extract. We are messy, conflicted, and paradoxical. We believe contradictory things. We hope when there's no logical reason to hope. We fight when we should surrender. Those aren't bugs in our programming. They are features. The being lunged at her, but its movements were predictable now, the perfect coordination of the collective shattered by the virus. Elara sidestepped easily and drove the resonance blade through its chest. And most importantly, she whispered as the light faded from its mismatched eyes, we would rather die free than live as slaves. Throughout the vast harvester vessel, The mnemonic virus spread from system to system, from drone to drone, carried by the very neural network that gave the collective its strength. Harvested human consciousnesses, long suppressed and utilized as mere processing nodes, began to awaken, introducing chaos into the perfect order of the convergence. Elara fought her way through the disintegrating ship, dispatching confused drones and avoiding structural collapses. The quantum entanglement link with Nova Haven had been re-established as soon as the Harvester jamming systems failed. "Admiral Chen," she called as she ran. "The virus is deployed and spreading. The Harvester fleet is vulnerable. Strike now." From the bridge of the flagship Defiance, Admiral Kaido, Chen watched in awe as the massive Harvester vessels began to move erratically. Some fired weapons at nothing, others crashed into each other, and still others simply went dark, drifting in space. "All ships, this is Admiral Chen. Commence attack pattern Omega. Target the compromised vessels first." The remnants of humanity's fleet, a cobbled-together force of military vessels, armed civilian ships, and hastily converted industrial platforms, surged forward. For the first time in 20 years of relentless defeat, they faced an enemy in disarray. Missiles streaked across space. Energy weapons carved through suddenly vulnerable Harvester hulls. Fighter squadrons darted between massive capital ships, exploiting weaknesses that had never before existed. "Sir," called the tactical officer, "the Harvesters, they are fighting each other." On the main view screen, Chen saw two Harvester dreadnoughts exchanging fire, their once perfect coordination replaced by what looked remarkably like confusion and panic. "It's working," he breathed. Commander Reeve did it. The tide of battle shifted minute by minute. Harvester vessels that had been invincible for 2 decades fell one after another. Some self-destructed, their systems overwhelmed by the cognitive dissonance introduced by the mnemonic virus. Others were destroyed by the concerted human attack. A few simply went dormant, as if shutting down to escape the chaos in their collective mind. "Sir, we are receiving a transmission from within the Harvester flagship," reported the communications officer. "It's Commander Reeve." Elara's face appeared on screen, bloody but triumphant. Behind her, alarms blared and systems sparked. "Admiral, the flagship is going critical. The virus is spread throughout their entire network. They can't coordinate, can't adapt, can't even think straight anymore." "What about the other Harvester forces throughout human space?" Chen asked. "The virus spreads through their quantum communication network. Any Harvester connected to the collective is already infected. It will take time, but the effect will cascade throughout their entire species." "And you?" Elara glanced behind her as an explosion rocked the ship. "I have found what appears to be their central database. Atlas is downloading everything. Their origins, their technology, their weaknesses. I'm going to transmit it all to you before this ship goes down. We can send an extraction team. No time. Besides," she smiled faintly, "I have already lived 1,000 years past my time. Make it count, Admiral. Rebuild. Be better than we were." The transmission began to break up as the Harvester flagship systems failed catastrophically. "Commander Reeve, on behalf of all humanity, thank you. Just doing my job, Admiral. Humanity, fuck yeah." The transmission cut off as the Harvester flagship broke apart in a series of massive explosions, its impossible architecture collapsing in on itself like a dying star. Admiral Chen stood silent for a long moment, then turned to his crew. "All ships, continue the attack. Show no mercy. Today, we take back our future." 1 year later, the memorial stood atop the highest peak on Nova Haven, a simple obelisk of black stone inscribed with a single name, Commander Elara Reeve. Below it were the words, "One soldier, one last stand, one humanity." Admiral Chen, now High Chancellor of the Reformed Human Coalition, stood before it with his daughter, Maya. "Did you know her well?" the young woman asked. "I only met her once," Chen replied. "But in that single meeting, she reminded us all what humanity is capable of when pushed to the edge. The history books say she was from the 22nd century, that she fought in some war no one remembers anymore. The Voidborn War, and we remember it now. Thanks to the data she recovered from the Harvesters. 1,000 years of lost human history, preserved in their archives even as they tried to destroy us." Maya studied the memorial thoughtfully. Was she really enhanced? Like the stories say? Chen smiled. The medical scans showed neural modifications beyond anything our science can replicate. But I don't think that's what made her special. It was her spirit, her absolute refusal to accept defeat. In the years since the Battle of Nova Haven, humanity had begun to rebuild. The Harvester threat wasn't entirely eliminated. Isolated vessels and outposts remained, but their collective consciousness had been shattered beyond repair by the mnemonic virus. Without their hive mind, they were dangerous but no longer existential threats. More importantly, the data recovered from the Harvester flagship had provided technological breakthroughs that accelerated human recovery by decades. New colonies were being established. Lost worlds were being reclaimed. For the first time in a generation, humanity looked to the stars with hope rather than fear. They say her consciousness might have survived, Maya said, that the quantum entanglement link might have downloaded her mind before the flagship exploded. Chen had heard the rumors. Some of his scientists even believed them, pointing to anomalous patterns in the data transmitted during those final moments. If it did, he said carefully, I hope she finds peace. She's earned it. As they turned to leave, Chen glanced back at the memorial one last time. For just a moment, he thought he saw a flicker of light dance across its surface, almost like a wink. Somewhere in the data streams that connected humanity's recovering civilization, in the quantum networks that bound world to world, a fragment of consciousness drifted. Not quite Elara Reeve anymore, but not quite gone. Watching, waiting, ready, humanity had survived extinction once more. And whatever came next, they would face it together.